I'm warning you right now, this is definitely not my flavor of online gameplay. I'm trying to give it a chance. I'm trying to get the nuances down to the game because I know there are a few trophies that I would need to collect if I make a run at the Platinum Trophy in this motherfucker. But I'd much rather tell a YouTube auditor to go fuck himself. Now, right off the bat, I've made this confession plenty of times. By now, most people know this. But when people post videos, they like to cherry pick their best games and moments. I pick my best gameplays. People that have their channels post their best gameplays. You don't see crap where people didn't have a good game. So I am cherry picking my best games in this motherfucker, but by no means is this an indicator as to how well I play. For the most part, my games hover around a 1 kill death ratio. So for the majority of that is me getting cheap kills with launchers, grenades, superpowers, shooting the motherfucker in his back when he's not looking. Hey, I ain't gonna lie, man. I'm just not good at this game. But I must say, when I have had good games, I've had fun in those games. And when I get my shit kicked in, it wasn't so fucking fun because I felt like I really couldn't kill anything. But in any event, the Crucible in Destiny's player versus player mode is where you get to stomp the shit of little kids online. My biggest concern with this game is by far and away balance. Balance, balance, balance. Y'all ever heard that real estate term? Location, location, location? Well, it's the same shit here with balance. Now, I have to start by saying that I entered my Crucible matches decked to the nines with my best gear. I have an awesome assault rifle that I've mentioned in prior commentaries, the Shingen. It has a 44 bullet clip, very clean sight, limited recoil, high rate of fire, and the highest damage rating of any assault rifle available in the beta. It is fucking badass. There is no question about it. In some games, I had a rapid fire shotgun called the Graviton or a pulse rifle that kills pretty much anything in one shot. I might also have a rocket launcher or the LMGs that hit like a ton of bricks. Holy shit, do these fuckers do damage. You know, I was killing people with 3 to 4 shots with the LMG once that heavy ammo became available, so those motherfuckers do work. And this is where the problem lies. With game modes that have no competitive restrictions, which I'm going to talk about in a second, Destiny's Crucible is essentially an arms race. You want the highest damage rated gun. You want the biggest rocket launcher possible. You want to have the most overpowered shit possible because chances are someone is going to have something just as powerful or even more powerful than you do. This is the ultimate dick measuring competition I've ever seen in a multiplayer game. There's nothing, absolutely nothing like this on the market as a popular online shooting game. Nothing. In Call of Duty, the guns are generally even in terms of the damage overall. Sure, there are guns that are better than others, but for the most part, it's gonna balance out. Battlefield, Halo, Killzone, Uncharted, all of their guns have slightly different properties, but are generally well balanced. In Destiny, if I have a gun with a 65 attack rate, and your gun only has a 30 attack rate, guess who's gonna win the majority of the gunfights? The bigger dick always wins. If I have equipment that gives me 200 points of health, and you have only 100 points of health, guess who's going to win? The bigger dick always wins. If I have a rocket launcher that does 500 points of damage, and your health is only 400, guess who's gonna win? The bigger dick will always win. When I entered the Crucible for the first time, I did the Iron Banner Challenge, which had no restrictions or anything on your gears or your levels. I went into those matches and just straight slaughtered people. And what sucked is the best game I got, I fucking didn't record because I figured out I was gonna get my shit stomped. So I ended up having 31 kills with a 5+ kill death ratio, 9 flag captures or some shit like that, on a losing team where nobody had a 1 kill death ratio. Seriously, that would have been great for Stuck with Scrubs. But anyway, the moral of the story is that the equipment I had gave me the biggest dick in the room. Unquestionably, my rifle was murdering people without prejudice. My LMG was taking 3 to 4 bullets just to kill a motherfucker, and it even has an auto lock-on assist upgrade that I have on the motherfucker. On top of that, it had a 48 bullet clip. My pulse rifle was melting people in one shot. It had nothing to do with skill. It had to do with dick size. It wasn't the motion of the ocean that got me those kills. It was the issue that I had the most beef to work with. Now, outside of the Iron Banner section of the multiplayer, they have restrictions on the levels that you have in the game. They have competitive restrictions that make sure everyone in the room is playing on an equal playing field. But here's the thing, even with all the equipment that I had, I still felt like I had a better advantage than everyone. I had a better assault rifle. I had a better LMG. I had a lock-on LMG. All those advantages that I had, they still carry over. I don't know if the gun damage was different. I don't know if the health was changed or whatever the fuck it was. I know that they're trying to limit the dick sizes in the room so that everyone has the same size or whatever, but even Bungie's attempts to make my equipment flaccid didn't do much to stem the damage my gun can do. I still had that 44 bullet clip with an amazing fire rate and normal recoil. I still had a lock-on rocket launcher. I still had an auto aim assist LMG. Basically, I still had better equipment than most people in the room. Didn't matter what my level was, it mattered that my equipment still kicked their ass. And this is where I see this game is going to have the biggest issues. People who invest a number of hours into this game are going to get the highest rated shit. People who play casually and have no interest of investing massive amounts of hours needed are going to constantly be at a disadvantage against those of a higher level. If you want the bigger dick size, you're going to have to put the hours in to get it. And keep in mind, this was a beta and it was restricted to level 8. Imagine what you could get at level 20. Imagine those 400-point attack weapons that are legendary or exotic or whatever the fuck it is, compared to the fucking 60-point attack ratings that guns have now. I mean, that's a serious ass fucking waiting to happen, man. This game says that there are going to be rooms that restrict competitive level advantages. You won't be able to bring your biggest dick weapons to the party, but there are also modes that won't be restricted, which leads to the inevitable question. Why do we have all of this shit in the first place? Think about it. Why is there a 400-point attack rifle in the game if you can only use it under certain circumstances? Why are guns so low level and then take a massive jump towards the end of the game? If competitive balance is what Bungie is aiming for, why is this shit so unbalanced to begin with that you need to restrict what people bring into the rooms? As much as people rail against Call of Duty and Battlefield and other shooter games and say one gun is overpowered, the other gun is overpowered, their guns do not have the ridiculous gap in ability that the Destiny guns are going to have. Yes, the ACR was overpowered. Yes, the FAMAS was overpowered. Yes, the Model 1887s in Modern Warfare 2 were like the equivalent of someone carrying 2 big dicks in each hand around an Nymphomaniac convention for horny women. But there's nothing that compares to how unbalanced the Destiny guns are showing they're going to be. Granted, Bungie still has a few months to rethink some of their ideas, although I think it's a bit late at this point to re-envision everything they created. But going into the Crucible, you have to be prepared that people who kill you aren't necessarily better than you at the game. They just might have a bigger dick than you. The fact that Bungie has to restrict level advantages shows there's something potentially wrong with the balance of the game. If you get into a room as a level 10 and you see a level 20 in the room, chances are you're going to get the shit stomped out of you. You're going to get absolutely fucked up unless Bungie's pussification limits kick in. Those who busted their ass to get to level 20 and they have those big dick guns, now they're limited with their size advantage. You know, I don't know, I guess you gotta like fold that sucker in half or only use the tip or something. Now there are a few other things that I want to point out regarding the Crucible. In some games, I had some massive lag spikes, and you guys are seeing some of that in the background and shit like that in some of the gameplay. In other games, it ran 100% smooth, and I would say it's about a 60-40 split right now towards rooms with no issues. But again, this could just be beta stability issues and shit like that. It can all be adjusted when the game comes out. But I'll say this, I did see some massive lag spikes when I actually was playing the game. I mean, Bungie warned us ahead of time that the beta isn't going to be perfect and this is not the final version, but I will just say you noticed a few things. I mean, it's also quite possible that my connection was better than others and people were trying to shoot me and they were lagging 100% and I was only lagging 60%, whatever the fuck, man. If I got free kills because of lag, I really don't give a shit. You know, I'm also playing on the PlayStation 3, which may or may not have an impact on the servers or whatever the fuck. It's quite possible that an upgrade to the newer consoles might work better, although Battlefield 4 fans will tell you their adventures on the next-gen consoles of this motherfucker. But anyway, another minor point of contention that people have, and that I personally have as well, is the Titan Hulk smash. Essentially, it's a free kill. I have 2 issues with it to begin with. First of all, like any superpower, there is no way to counter or stop these things. You know, once the person is in their animation, it's pretty much game over. And Bungie has already confirmed that once a player sees himself in third-person mode, the animation is going to continue to the end, even if you manage to kill the player before the move finishes. There is no stopping a Titan Smash, or even the Warlock Fireball, or whatever the fuck that shit is. Once a player hits a third-person view, the move will complete regardless. Sure, you can kill a Titan simultaneously as he kills you. You can fire a rocket or use a superpower on him, but there is no way to stop the move, which leads to the second point, is how easy it is for a Titan to start his super move in the first place. You know, unlike a Hunter who has an animation for the Golden Gun, there's no animation for the Titan. Within a second, he's in smash mode waiting to knock a motherfucker out. The Warlock has the Nova Bomb, but he needs to get it in the airs for it to be effective, and it also has a drop range, so you actually have to shoot it at an arc to make sure you hit your targets. A Hunter has to be accurate with his Golden Gun, although they do have that massive auto-lock shit on that motherfucker, but a Titan, not so much. If a Titan sees you, all he has to do is press the superpower buttons, and within half a second, you are dead. It's that fucking simple. The Titan's move is far too powerful in this game and far too easy to use compared to the other 2 classes. I mean, you could just see that this class is going to be used and abused, and it's just asking for it to be tweaked. You know, I don't know if Bungie plans on tweaking the class, but if they do, This is one that desperately needs a change. The other two are okay, although the Warlock still is a little bit easier than the Hunter. But the Titan needs some kind of adjustment for the player versus player mode because it's far too effective and it makes the other classes obsolete. But in any event, I told you guys that I was going to talk about the Crucible, and yes, this was a Call of Duty free weekend. But in any event, I still have plenty of footage to talk about in the Destiny beta. Probably get a couple more videos in the future on the weekends and shit like that. Starting tomorrow, we're going to have another Goodbye PlayStation 3 week. I'm going to have another 5 videos for you guys. And then the following week is going to be the answers to all the questions that people sent in. So this is probably going to be your final chance to send me all your questions. As always, rate, comment, subscribe, and all the good shit. And I'll see you guys in the next video.